to CASA of Santa Cruz County. We're joined today by our neighbor organizations. Oh, sorry, here we go. CASA of Monterey and San Benito County as well. As you might know, April is Child Abuse Awareness Month and Prevention Month, and we hang our pinwheels outside to bring awareness to this, and as a reminder that every child deserves a thriving and fun childhood where they can be a kid. CASA provides court-appointed special advocates for every youth referred to us from the foster care system so that they have an adult mentor in their life so they can heal and thrive. Today we are going to talk about what we can do as a community to help our families on the Central Coast, to strengthen them so that they can thrive as well, so that they never enter our dependency court system. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Congressman Panetta.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you very much. So I guess I choked on my cough drop. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. And obviously, good morning, everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to be here to highlight something that's so important to our community, not just here in Watsonville where we are today. And obviously, I share these remarks with the representative for this area, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, as well. But we want to be here, obviously, to thank, CASA and what the court-appointed special advocates do for not just Santa Cruz County, but Monterey County, and of course San Benito County. This place that we call our home here on the Central Coast. And obviously, we want to appreciate the public servants that are here that represent the Central Coast, as well as their staff members that are here too. Look, I think this month, as many of us know, and what draws us here together, is that it is Child Abuse Prevention Month. And today, obviously, we recognize that all too often, because of that abuse, too many children are voiceless. But also, we gather here today to show our support for CASA, the organization and the people and the advocates that bring a voice to those voiceless. Now, in California alone, it is said that there's close to 500,000 per year, 500,000 children per year that are mistreated. And for some, that abuse is caught. But for others, there can be that continued suffering in silence. So today, we want to raise this awareness for the voiceless, but also highlight CASA that gives so many a voice. Now, for many abused children, obviously, they transition to foster care, which is a good thing and a safe environment, but it can also be a time that is turbulent, it's tumultuous, and it can be tangled, and therefore can be distressing for these children emotionally. It can be disturbing physically, and it can be disrupting definitely educationally. That is why CASA is absolutely invaluable to those children at such a vulnerable time in their lives. Now, the advocate's relationship, the advocate's connection to these children can be pretty tough to build at first, with children who have either never had adults in their life or had adults in their life that they just never trusted. So that's why before the advocates speak for children, they speak to children, they get to know children, and they develop that bond with children. And that is why 90% of the children who have CASA, who have that child, that advocate in their lives, don't re-enter the child welfare system. Now, at the federal level, we obviously are all in for organizations like CASA. That's why we created the Child Abuse Prevention Month. That's why we continue to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act, which provide grant programs to protect abused children, and court programs to prevent child abuse. It's why we passed the Protect Our Child Act, and it's why we'll continue to fund SAMHSA for continued collaboration between juvenile justice, child welfare, and educational systems. It's why we stand up for LGBTQ youth and why we stand against LGBTQ hate. Now, despite the policies, though, what I've come to realize, despite the policies that are created at federal, at state, at local levels, it really is about that personal service that's provided. That is why CASA, I firmly believe, why CASA is so successful. Those personal connections to our children. That is how CASA is able to provide that voice to the voiceless. But that's also the sound that we are so proud to hear in our communities, and that is the sound we want to hear not just this month, we want to hear every month of every year going forward. So obviously, thank you for CASA, for being that sound, for being that voice. Thank you for doing what we need to continue to do throughout our community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa Lahamadou. I serve on the board of directors for CASA of Santa Cruz, and I'm an author. I also work for the County of Santa Cruz Housing for Health Division as a social work supervisor. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz County and navigated through a multitude of community-based organizations and social service programs while raising my 2 children as a single mother. I am also a former foster youth. I entered the child welfare system at the age of 7 and was introduced to CASA at the age of 9 when I was connected to my court-appointed advocate. Due to the lack of family support, my own 2 children ended up in the child welfare system years later. Through my lived experience, I came to learn that healthy support systems are necessary to establish and maintain a safe environment where children can flourish. Ultimately, it's children who suffer the greatest consequences when their families lack those valuable connections. In the absence of naturally occurring supports, the solution is to supplement those relationships through community resources and advocacy. When I think about what would have helped me to prevent my children from entering the child welfare system, the first thing that comes to mind is access to affordable housing. The sad truth is that there is simply more need than there are resources. So my experience left me feeling stranded in a sea of endless wait lists for housing and shelter that ultimately led to nowhere. My experience was also clouded by fear of consequences and accessing resources. These fears ranged from being unfairly judged by my circumstances, to fear of losing my children should I disclose the complexity of my situation and the factors contributing to my family's instability. Should I report to my CalWorks representative that I can't leave my kids alone with my husband while I'm at work? If I disclose my disability, will my kids be taken away from me? Can I trust that I won't be penalized if I share that my children are truant because we're sleeping in our car and have no alarm to wake up or gas to get to school? Many families in need develop a mistrust for the systems that are designed to help. For me, it was because it had failed me many times throughout my life. This could be addressed by first providing resources to match the growing need so that families can learn to trust again. More housing subsidies, lower barrier access to housing, affordable childcare, free or reduced cost after-school enrichment services for children, greater access to education resources for parents, and extending the length of supports for those navigating out of poverty. Most people experiencing poverty were born into it. It wasn't a choice. And learning to adapt behaviors that have served you for a lifetime, and likely generations before you, it takes time. We have to acknowledge that the face of poverty in Santa Cruz is very different from the remainder of the country. Many of us are just a paycheck away from homelessness. Our cost of living is one of the highest in the nation. This means that people who fall in the middle class lose access to services prematurely. Adjusting income qualification requirements for services such that I previously mentioned would mean that fewer families would enter situations that lead to harm. Ultimately, poverty is stressful, and when parents are stressed, they have less mental and emotional energy to devote to the healthy development of their children. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your remarks. I think they touched everyone's heart. But more importantly, I look at someone as you are, just a lovely, confident woman. And to realize the steps that you had to go through to get to where you are today just makes me just honor you and have tremendous respect for you. Thank you. So I just will make a couple of remarks. I'm Mary Adams. I'm the supervisor from the 5th District of Monterey County. And it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. You don't really celebrate Child Abuse Prevention Month, but you know, and we want to bring awareness to child abuse prevention, and I've worked in that regard for a number of years. One of the things that I'm conscious of when you think of CASA, though, and I think that your remarks really led us to that, Melissa, was the use of the word trust is just such an important one. And when you think of the children who are in the county system or the state system or whatever system they happen to be in, the thought of trust is really a tough one. And I like what Congressman Panetta said about, before you can talk to someone or talk about someone, you have to talk to them, how important that really is. And I think that that's what we see now. But these are the children who have lost everything. They've lost their families. And now we have to think of attachment, because attachment is one of the most important things for security for a child. And through the CASA program, that's what they get. They are working with someone with whom they are able to build trust. And that's the thing that changes their lives. I think each one of us in this room can look back and you'll find just one person who stands out, someone who simply paid attention to you. That just paid attention to you. That's really what makes the difference in a child's life. And I think, I see so many advocates here in this room. If we can't do it, who will? So on behalf of Monterey County and all of its residents thereof, I am happy to participate for this event today here at CASA for Child Abuse Prevention Council Month in April. And just wish all of you a tremendous future ahead, because the need is there, but the hearts and the spirit of the people to address that need are here. So thank you so much for inviting me today.
Hello, how's everybody doing? My name is Gail Pelerin, and I'm the State Assembly member for the 28th Assembly District, and I've been a huge fan of CASA for a long, long time. And the reason is that the children are our future. And these children who are the most vulnerable and who are in great need of care, attention, and services, and to be seen, to be told that they are enough, is so vitally important. And it impacts everything else we do. So if we can give kids a good start, if we can take care of our kids in foster care and get them the connections, the services they need, we are going to have an impact on everything else. We're going to have an impact on our housing. We're going to have an impact on our education system. We're going to have an impact on our public safety system. And I'm seeing in Sacramento how making sure that children are put first and foremost is so vitally important to the future of the state. So I'm very proud to be here today with my colleague from Congress and our colleague from Monterey County, and I'm sorry I missed your story. But anyway, just it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to help any way I can, so thank you.